My channel. My name is Bilikis. How you all doing? Yeah, it's so good to be back. Yeah, a lot of people have been like, Bilikis, we want to see your face. How are you? How you doing? I'm fine. I'm fine. I apologized in my last video for not posting so often, which I'm still going to apologize again because I shouldn't just leave you guys just like that. Yes, you've been with me all through thick and thin. So again, I'm apologizing for that. And trust me now, every week we get to drop tutorials on our YouTube channel. Yes. And thanks for everyone that has been checking up on me, watching out on me. Thank you so much. The reason why I've not uploaded in a long time is because I've been working on a lot of projects. Yes, although our online classes has been going on too. And the major project is working on myself. Yes, after all I've gone through, I try as much as possible to work on myself psychologically, physically, emotionally, in all aspects of my life. And trust me, I'm in a happy place now. Yes, I can say that to you. So thank you for always being there for me. And another thing is that I've been taking care of myself a lot. I take a lot of time to enjoy myself. Yes, go on vacation even if it is 2 or 3 days. Now I place myself first, even before work. Yes. So another major project is our physical classes. Yes, we now have a fashion school in Lagos. Yes, Bilikis Signature Fashion School. I'm sure you might have been seeing the flyer here and there on Facebook, Instagram, and all that. So our resumption date is 5th of September. Yeah, I'm happy about that too. And thanks for the people that has been with me all this while. So back to today's class. Don't let me bore you with my story, which will be on how to make this lovely structure we have here. Isn't this beautiful? So beautiful. So I'm going to teach you now step by step. You can see how beautiful it looks, well structured. This is the front. I'm going to teach you how to embellish it. Yes. And looking at the back, just straight, how to close it up. You can also have it pleated. Yes, however you want it to be. So this is beautiful. And looking at it, you see you can't find any seam line outside. Yes, everything is inside and the boning inside. Yes, and you are still looking at the beautiful structure. So we are going to go into detail on how to make this lovely piece and how to attach to your outfit. So right now, let's go to the work table. Did I tell you my name? My name is Bilikis. Don't mind me. For us to get started, the first thing you need is the fabric you'll be making use of, and here I have a velvet material. You can also make use of Duchess. Yeah, it comes out nice, but I don't have like pieces I could play with now. So here I will be working with this velvet material. So another thing you will need to do here, I'll be making use of this lace, the trimmings from this lace to embellish it, because that was what I used in this very one I have here. Okay, good. So that will be for the embellishment. So another thing I will need is the ST. It comes in 2 colors, either white or black. As I said, either white or black. So the purpose is for it to give stability to the fabric, especially when you are working with velvet. So it is also an interfacing. One part is fusible. It has glue that you glue to the fabric, especially for velvet. So when you put ST, it just stays in place. Especially if you are using the cheaper one, at times I double the ST. Yes. But if you are using the original one, once you use just one, it will be fine. So having spoken about that, another important thing you need is the boning. For me, I love plastic boning so much. And make sure you are using the wider one. This is the 1/2 inch. There's another one bigger than this. So it depends on how big the structure you are working on is. Depends on how big the boning you'll be using too. So here I have the 1/2 inch, which is still okay for the 9.5 inch wideness. So having done that, another thing I will need is this. I have other interfacing. So here, this is the lightest one. So after gluing the hair stay, I just like to also make use of this lightest one. It's called the paper stay, the lightest one, just to make it more stable. But in case you don't have, you don't need to worry at all. So all I do is to just use that too, but if you don't have, that's no problem. Here also is another interfacing. This is the medium one This one is the lightest, this is the medium, and then we have the harder one, which is popularly called the peplum stay. But since I don't have that now, I'll be working with this normal stay. Although it's not as thicker as that, but anyone you have, just make do with it. It's still going to have a nice structure, so don't crack your head. So I'll be using this for the line. As we go on, you will understand. So also for the embellishment, you need your glue gun. I so much love my glue gun, or any fabric glue you have at all. That aside, so going back to the fabric needed, so you need to determine the length of the structure you want. Since I'm working with a bigger mannequin, so I'll be making use of about 31 inches with seam allowance. So it depends on how you want it to go. If you want something like this or something from the shoulder down, so it depends on how long it's going to be. So having done that, here I have 31 inches. And then for the wideness, like for the one I have on this miniature mannequin is 5 inches, as you can see. But for a bigger person like ourselves, you do up to 9 inches and above, 9, 10, 11, depending on how much drama you want. But between 9 and 10 is fine. So here I have 10.5 inches with seam allowance. So by the time I take in half an inch on both sides, I'll be left with 9.5, which is still fine. You can still do 8, because this will be 8, which is still okay. So since I have that, I'm still going to cut into 2, but I like to just fuse my hairstay to it before cutting it up. So now I have one straight fabric. So I'm just going to glue this to it and then come back to show you the next step. I have infused the hairstay to it, and you can see how it is. So the reason why I always do this stage is people that has worked with velvet to understand what I'm talking about. So at least it won't stretch here and there again. Can you see? It's stable. But for instance, if I'm actually working for a client or for myself, I will double the hairstay. But because of this tutorial, I'll just leave it at that. So the next stage I'm going to do is this, to now glue this paper stay on it. Assuming I double this, I'll be using this lightest one. But since I didn't double it, I'll just use this medium interfacing to make it more stable. So I'm just going to press it all on it, then fold it to readjust the edges, and then we can get started. Guys, have now ironed and I'm okay with the stability. And I must tell you, in sewing, ironing is very important. It's like 40%. Can you see? So after the hairstay, then I now had to put the medium interfacing to stick it late. I just let this open so that you'll be able to see that. So after that, the next thing now is to now cut it into 2. The reason why I did all this together, because when you're ironing, especially with velvet, it's not that easy. So that was why I had to do that first. Fold it properly, then cut into 2. Then the real work begins. It's quite thick now, that's why. Good. So now we have separate panels. So one will be for the outer part and one will be for the inner part. Another thing I now did was to cut out another interfacing, as you can see. So this will be the lining for the one that will be inside, like this very one that is inside now. So this will be the lining for it. You understand as we go on, it's just exactly the same thing. Can you see? It's exactly the same size. So now this will be for the outer part. Let's just set that aside. Good. So now let's work with the inner one that's going to have the boning. So all I have to do now is this. Place it this way. Good. Then you put this. You can make sure the gluey part is facing the inner side of the fabric. So this way. Good. So the first thing we are going to do is to mark the seam allowance you will use to join both this inner one and the outer part together. You need 1/2 inch to join it together. So first you are going to mark it on the interfacing, which is now the lining. So from the outer part, mark 1/2 inch. 1/2 inch, and also on the other side 1/2 inch, and then draw a straight line. So looking at it, I have marked the seam allowance. So this seam allowance is what we are using to sew up both this side and together with this side. Good. After doing that, now we need to create the channel of the boning. So we are working with this because this is the lining for this inner part. All you have to do is to measure, because the boning I'm working with is 1/2 inch. So just measure a bar after 1/2 inch, or just do 3/4 inch, because you don't want to have it too tight at all. So from this seam allowance line now, just measure 3/4, or just 1 bar after the 1/2 inch. Just mark it here. Mark it from the seam allowance inward. On this other side, you measure from here inward. Then you mark with your ruler. So this one now will be the bone channel. So I just had to take my time because I want you to understand the concept. Good. So this is the seam allowance line. This is the boning line. So here too, I'm going to mark it down. Because if your boning channel is too small, trust me, you have to start losing again, which you don't want at all. Good. Now we are done. So I'm going to take this piece now, the inner one, to the sewing machine. Since they are equal, first I'm going to sew it together. This seam allowance I'm going to sew on the line straight down. Also the boning channel, I'm going to sew it on it straight down on both sides. Make sure you pin it down on each side so that it doesn't move zigzag. And you can see, so first I sew the seam allowance on both sides and then the boning channel. So you can see now what I was talking about, that this will be the lining for this inner side. So this is the boning channel here, and then the seam allowance. On the other side, this is what it will look like. So this is the boning channel. I don't know if you can see the threading. Good. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to make sure I place both fabric facing each other. So can you see? Good. So I'm now going to take to the sewing machine again and now sew on the seam allowance. So we are not sewing on this boning channel. That's only on the inside. But this now seam allowance will be joined together. So just sew on this existing seam down 1, 2, and to secure both. Then we can bring it outside. Then if you want the hand to be closed, like the back, then you can also sew in 1/2 inch here to close it up. I've sewn it together now. You can see I've sewn the seam allowance together, then close this lower parts. So the next thing is to bring it all out. See how beautiful it looks. Can you see that? So this is the channel, this is the inner side, because I can see the seam here for the boning here. So that's where the bones will pass through. And then looking at it on the inside, so this is the facing. So by the time you put in your boning, then you can iron and then it glues to this one. But don't glue before you put your bones, or else this place is going to close up. So looking at it, this is the part for the boning. So that is it. So now you just take your bones and measure from the end here, since this part is closed, and you make sure you leave about 3/4 inch before the edge. So all I do is just cut the edge here, just little, not too much. And I use my lighter. I don't tear up the fabric. So you do this for all your outfit at all. I've already done that to this very one. So the next thing now is to push in your buns. So I want this curved part to be on the inside, because this is the inside, so I want it to be something like this. So the curved part will go in this way. Just go in gently. Remember, we make use of a paper interfacing and you don't want it to tear up. Good. This is beautiful. Can you see the shape already? Then the second one goes in. I have it in now. So can you see how beautiful this is? So this is the outer part that has no seam at all, and this is the inner part that has the seam in it. So another trick you can just do is this. So just take hemming glue. If you don't have it, it's not compulsory. So you just push it in before you iron. So you can put one here, here in the middle, here, then just iron, and then it glues down so it doesn't move around. So that's another tip. So having done this, now we can place on the mannequin. So here, first secure the bones down with your needle and thread, or you just go to your sewing machine to tack it down. So you can now pleat as you desire. You can do that on your sewing machine first. You get that? So this goes to the back, and this is what the front looks like. So it's very easy. Now for the applique embellishment. So I would advise you to use soldering iron because that is faster, but you can just take your time because this is sequence. At times I just take my time. You can see what I've cut out. So this is what I will use to design the part after tacking it down to the mannequin. So let's do that. So guys, this is what the structure looks like, and you can see so beautiful. So by the time you are done with this, your outfit should be on this dress form. Can you see that? Just so wonderful. Can you see the back? Then at this stage, there is another work for you to do. The first thing is to get your needle and thread, because you are doing a lot of tacking work. Yes, because since your outfit is already on the dress form, you have to tack this all down with your needle and thread right from here downward. Then when you get somewhere around here, you tack it down to close to the armhole at the back. That's very essential because you don't want it moving around because it's a lot of volume. So with all the stay we've added to it, so it's a lot of volume, so you need to tack it down. So you can leave this place hanging that way. So you can see, you can also have your embellishment or your trimmings at the edges this way. So just the tiny one, you could just have it at the edges just to beautify it. It depends on the amount you have and however you want to have it. Like here, you can still have a lot of pleats to work with, but it depends on your preference. So since we said your outfit is already on the dress form, you place your trimmings from the structure into the dress. Can you see? So you cover it up this way. It should be something like this. Then you should be working with your fabric glue or your glue gun here. But usually I just tack down. After tacking to the dress, I tack with my pins, so I'll be able to see if the design I have is okay by me. If it's not, I will tack. Then I can now use my glue gun to glue it down. So just walk around with it. Let's see. Let me just do the tacking. So you can see how it looks. This could be here too. So after making the structure, tacking it down, embellishing it is another stage you need to work on. So it's time consuming, but it's worth all the efforts. Let's see. That's how you keep working on it. So you can still put more around these points. Depends on your preference. Can you see that? So beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. You can do it all the way to the back depending on what you have. So if this tutorial has been helpful, please give me a giant thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. I remain your girl Bilikis. I have to say bye now. You like it? Yes, beautiful, beautiful, so beautiful. So yours might not be as wide as this. It depends on your preference. Bye guys.